And this is Tom with TCP Model Building, and today I've got a buddy build going on. So I'll go ahead and link to my buddy on YouTube, and then we'll go ahead and get things going here shortly. So the model build for today is an 80s classic, sometimes referred to as the Lady, or at least I'm building the Lady. My buddy Sherman is going to go ahead and build the evil twin, if you will. So what is it we're talking about? Well, this is an 80s television show. The model came out in 84, and it starred Ernest Borgnine, Jan Michael Vincent, Alex Cord, and it was called Airwolf. And the lady, of course, is the star, Airwolf herself. So let's go ahead and take a look at the box. Back in a moment. And here we go. There she is. She's still in her original box. She's still got her original shrink wrap. And in front of her is the one that I actually built back in the mid-80s. Unfortunately, landing gear is kind of shot, and somewhere out there is the rotor and the hello boys. There's the rear rotor and the top rotor. So she's definitely seen better days. She was actually hand painted back then because I did not have a airbrush at the time, and not necessarily knowing the actual color scheme, she was done in a black and white color format. I'd actually seen her one time actually in person, and saw her one time actually in the air. I was at a campground in I think it was in 85 if I remember correctly. And that weekend I was going to be going to the Mountain Air concert in Mountain Air in the Bay Area. And she happened to be flying overhead in the Sacramento area on her way over. I assume for refueling, but I'm not 100% sure. But my sister yelled out at me saying that Airwolf was up in the air, and I'm like, yeah, right, sure. And lo and behold, it was there. I did see her at the concert, but I wasn't able to see her for long because there was a huge queue up to go ahead and actually see her. And at that particular time period, I didn't have any camera that I took along with me. Why, I don't know. Actually in 85, I didn't have a decent camera. I didn't buy my decent camera, or my what was a Vivid, no, not a Vivitar, it was a Pentax K1000, completely manual film camera, and I didn't buy that until 86, so I wasn't able to get any photographs. So I knew she was some type of off gray, but whenever you saw her in the movies or in the TV series, she always looked black, and that was probably due to the filters, of course. So let me go ahead and reposition the camera, and let's open up the box and see what all we got. Be back. Alright, we're back. And opening up the box. I'm actually kind of surprised that the box has held up so well over all the years. Still has a lot of elasticity left in the plastic, so hopefully that's a good sign. Alright, so looking at the box art real quick, there's the cover showing Jan Michael Vincent and Ernest Borgnine. Obviously not a later one because they did include Jean Bruce Scott on the cover, and it's not a season 4 when they moved up to Canada. Otherwise they'd have the different stars. Side panels. This is a 1/48th model. Ertl being made out of, made in Mexico by the Ertl Corporation, or Ertl Company. So let's take a look, see what all we got here. We have a nice big instruction packet here. It was actually wider than the box. It actually folded over a little bit there, but it's in pretty good condition. Gives the color scheme a little bit. White on the top of the top blade there. Charcoal on the bottom, it looks like. Silver on the shaft. Shoulder tips on the refill or refueling nozzle, and lasers, although they never use the lasers on the show. White on the bottom, of course. Also a paint scheme for the Bell 222B, assuming that's what you wanted to build. Now this is the one thing that I really dislike about this particular model, is the fact that when you go to build this, you build the Bell 222B. The flight deck is completely wrong for Airwolf, but the kicker is you really can't see into it. I mean, I know that this particular model of mine, the windshields have frosted over the years, but you really can't see into it. The Oshima came out with a good model where they've got both colored plastic and clear plastic, and I do have that as well as the interior for it. And when I go to build that particular one, I'll probably do the colored plastic and paint it properly on the one side, and I'll probably do the clear on the other, so that way you can actually see inside the cockpit and the engineering area where Dominic Santini or Ernest Borgnine would sit. So, but that's another build, and that one will definitely get some electronics. Pages after that, landing gear, putting together the jet propulsions on it, choice to go ahead and add the cannon and chain guns, entering in the exhaust area, windshield, missiles. So all that looks pretty good. We'll get to that shortly. Here we have the clear pieces. Let's see, front windscreen, and then we've got the on the bottom, right and left side, right where the pilot area is. That way they can go ahead and see down underneath them. Windows that go across the top. So bottom area down here, windows across the top, so that way you can see up. That will definitely have to get, I'll have to go ahead and pick up some floor polish to go ahead and really polish those up. And in case you decide to do the 222B, here are the panels for the sides. So that way you can go ahead and look inside the rear area, which won't be done. Here are the decals, which they will not be used because these decals were not actually on the helicopter. About the only decal that I would have loved to have gone ahead and seen was for the refueling, which was a silver ring with a red fuel cap, if you will. Let's see if I can see it because it's over on the right hand side. And there is no right hand side photograph. So I do have some excellent photographs that I need to go ahead and print up. That'll show the paint scheme and whatnot from Sheldon. And when I go ahead and bring them up, I will go ahead and include those. I'll print them up and I'll have them so that way you can take a look. Anyways, so opening up the bag. Alright, so here we have the right hand side of Airwolf. And remember that fueling port that I just told you about a few moments ago? Now, you may or may not be able to see it, but there's a circular piece right here. That's where they'd go ahead and top off the fuel at. Then of course here's the windows to go ahead for the pilot area, which is part of this sprue here. But then these two windows are covered up by part of the Airwolf add-ons, if you will. Of course, here's where the bottom landing gear is, spot for the tail wing, and of course the rear rotor. Looks like it's in pretty good shape after all these years. Here is for the left-hand side. Looks like it's also in pretty good condition. The exterior of the model always seemed like it was in pretty nice model. Oops, looks like it had a few pieces that fell off the sprue, and the two sprues are actually still attached. So I'm going to go ahead and snip them apart. And a few pieces actually fell off in the bag. So we've got part of the chain gun and cannons, rear wing, if you will, part of the top rotor, the cannons, or I should say the rocket launchers, part of the side assembly, which goes ahead and houses the jet engine as well as the landing gear. That's in excellent shape there. Top rotor, we have the bottom of the cockpit area, which I'm going to have to go ahead and do something different with that. The top of the cockpit area, parts of the internal cockpit area, including the seats and the joysticks. Rear seats. And last couple of other pieces. Also part of the jet propulsion, part of the exhaust that's on top underneath the top rotor. We've got the instrument panel cluster here, which I wish they had a sticker for that instead. That would have been much nicer. Might be able to find something for that and possibly print it up. And then here we have the refueling nozzle. I think that refueling nozzle is actually better than what I've got on mine. Yeah, actually it is. Yeah, it's a little bit better anyways. Yeah, it could have been just in the pool out of the out of the dies when they went ahead and cast it. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and call it quits at this point here. So now that we've got a look at everything here, and I will go ahead and post this up as part of the buddy build. This upcoming week I've got the start of the college out where I work, so I'm not going to be able to go ahead and do anything. So till then, this is Tom with TCP Model Building. Hope you have a good one and enjoy your builds. Take care. Bye.